For this mini lesson, we are going to talk about cards and how we can create them. So first, let's define what are cards. In modern day web design, cards are used a lot. Cards look clean and they also look like the Android material design. Later, we will see different kinds of cards that you can use in your design. Now, we also have what we call picture cards that can be used to display article snippets with a picture on top and an article title in the bottom. Or you can use it to display user profiles or anything else. You can actually make menus or recipes using cards as well, or product cards, which we will also be looking at in this mini lesson. Picture cards can be used in a variety of purposes, as I mentioned a while back. So cards can be used to provide or to promote services, to display news, to give product descriptions, or you can also use it for your blog posts. So there are many actually uses of cards, and we'll be looking at some of this in this mini lesson. So to start with, okay, I hope you're ready. Let's open a blank notepad and I want you to type the following codes. Okay, so hit that pause button and type this on your notepad. Okay, this is what you will see on your notepad. Okay, so we have HTML, then we have the head up to the /HTML. Save this as card1.html. Oh, by the way, make sure that you have downloaded our resources, especially the images that we'll be using for this lesson. Okay, so make sure you have that because from this lesson, we will be using this one, a PNG file called img avatar. Okay. So this will replace the picture for John Doe, who is an architect and an engineer. Okay, so we're going to make a picture card or a profile card for this example. So open this in your browser, card1.html, and this is what you will see. So this is img avatar PNG. Okay, so this is the one. And then H4, this is John Doe here. And P, architect and engineer. Okay, so we are going to make use of CSS to format all of this to become a better output for this exercise. So open a blank notepad again. So leave card1.html open. Okay, and let's go to a blank notepad, and then I want you to type this #card, and then we're gonna add shadows to create the card effect so that the width is 250px. Then we have that back shadow, all right, 04px, 8px, 0 RGBA. So width is the size of the card that we're gonna make. The back shadow refers to the x and y offset for the first value, right? So 0 and 4px is your x and y offset, and then 8px is the blur, and 0 is the spread radius, and then we have the color for our shadow. You can play around with the values so you can see better. Okay, then the transition is the change property that we will be using when we are transitioning over a card, for example. Okay, well, when we talk about transitioning, is transferring from one card to the other. So save this as card1.css, go back to your browser and click refresh or press F5, and this is you will see. Now take note, we did not change the image because this is the image. The card actually is just this one, the small part here, so doesn't really follow. We are actually tweaking the view or the display to display everything in a card format, but actually this one is an image which is very separate from the card that we made here. So we will see that the image is still, you know, bleeding out, or shall we say big or large enough than our card here. So this is just the size of that card. Okay, so the next thing that we are going to do is you go back to card 1 CSS, and then I want you to type this. Right, so what are we doing here now? So we are looking for the card container, and inside that card is an IMG. Okay, remember that IMG, that picture? We will set that to 100%. Okay, like so. So this one here was the card, right? And we created it to have a width of 250 with the shadow and transition. What we're going to do now is we're gonna match that image. So there's an image in that card, and we're gonna match that image, set it to 100% to the size of that card, which is 250. Okay, save your work, go back to your browser and reload, and there you have it. Now you see that our image has already taken, although it's 100%, you have to understand that you might say it's 100%. Why did it become small? Because our card was set to 250px. If you increase this to 300, and since this one is 100%, it will automatically adjust to the size of your card. Do you follow? I hope I am making sense here. Okay, so whatever is the 100% of the image, it will follow the size of the card, because this image is found inside your card. Okay, so go back to card 1, and then let's do some pretty things in our card. What will happen if we move our mouse over the card? Okay, so on mouse over, we're gonna be adding a deeper shadow. Okay, so it's like more of an emphasis. So you will add hashtag card hover, okay, and then back shadow 0, 10px, 18px, 0 RGBA 0002. Now to give you an idea, what this means is that when we move the mouse over our card, there was a previous shadow, right? 04px, 8px, 0 RGBA 002. If you look on the mouse over, you will see now that our shadow increased from 4px to 10. The offset or the spread is from 8px to 18px, and then the color is still the same. You can change the color if you want to. Okay, save your work, go back to your browser and refresh. So the one in the red square that you see there is already the result when we move the mouse over our card. So actually you can try that in your browser, you will see the effect. Okay, try moving your mouse in and out of the image and you will see what I mean. Then go back again to card 1 and that's CSS, and let's add another component, and that would be your hashtag container. And then we're gonna be adding a padding of 2 and 16. 2 top and bottom, 16px left and right. Alright, so save your work, go back to your browser and refresh it. And this is now the effect of that padding. So the card in itself is the entire thing, and in that or the card is being kept inside a container, and we adjust the spacing, the padding. So this is 2px, 2px, and then this is 16 and 16 on left and right. Okay, go back to card 1 HTML and type the following code below the last /div. Okay, so you type nbsp div card img avatar 2 png alt avatar id container Jane Doe. So we're actually copying, if you look closely, what you can actually do is also copy this and paste it here below. and then all you have to do is change the name of the file name, the picture. Okay, so this is the name of that picture, and then the card is contains a container where the name of Jane Doe and their work is also placed. So we just copied and paste, we changed the picture. Okay, and then save your work, refresh your browser, and this is what you will see. Okay, so that is a quick lesson on card. Okay, so go back to card 1. Okay, so this design here puts the card one on top of the other. So card 1 and card 2. What if we will put the card 2 here, or we will put the images on the right side? So let's see if this one will do that trick. Okay, so I want you to go back to card 1 and then type the following code below body. Okay, so below body you would have div id placement, and above /body /div. Right, there you go. This is what you will see. So below body, div id placement. So we placed this id placement above the cards. Then we have the /div. So this will become a container as well. Save. Go back to card 1 CSS. Type the following code. Placement, display flex direction, row. That's the one there. Save your work and go back to your browser and reload, and this is what you will see now. Okay, so flex is shortcut for flexible display, so it will adjust with the size of your screen, but the direction of the that display or placement will be in rows. So instead of one on top of the other, it's gonna be one on the side of the other, just like what you see on your screen. Okay, so go back to card 1 CSS and type the following codes in red. So remember, we already have the card. So what are we doing now? If you look at this example, you will see that our card sticks to the other card. Okay, and that's not a good design. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna be putting a space in between these two, and to do that we are going to use margin. Okay, so we're gonna set a margin like so. So save your work and go back to your browser and reload the page, and there you have it. That is your card. Okay, quick one, right? That's easy to make. Alright, so let's make it a little bit fun. This card displays only the picture. If you have a real picture, you can put this actually as a profile picture of your page. Okay, so if you have a real picture, you can put your picture there, and then you can put your name and then your work experience or anything that you want to include there. Okay, so to make it more interesting, we're gonna make a flip card. Right, so what is a flip card? So a flip card is basically a card. If you move your mouse on the card, it's gonna flip. Okay, so now because we will be making use of the card, if there's a front, there's a back one. Usually these are very good if you wanna make flashcards. Okay, if you wanna, for example, make a page for your little brother or sister to learn alphabets. Okay, so this is gonna be fun. You can create flip cards. So you put a letter A here on one side, and then you put the word or a picture and the word of an apple at the back. So when you move your mouse, it's gonna flip. A is for apple, like so. Okay, you can do a lot of things actually. So to do that, I want you to open a blank notepad and type these codes. Okay, hit that pause button and then type. So you will see that we have many divs now, or divisions. We have a division for the flip card itself. Okay, we have a division for the inner card. For the inner card, we will have a flip card front and a flip card back. So for the flip card front, it has already an image. Okay, but the flip card back will contain the details of the picture. So it's like you are having a picture and you are writing at the back of the picture. That's the idea. So save this as card2 HTML and open this in your browser. So this is what you will see for now. So it's like looks the same, right? Looks like the first one, but we're not there yet. So first, let me talk to you about what's the difference between a Div ID and a Div Class. In a quick description, your Div ID is used for blocks of data. So we use them, they will come in handy when we start designing your web pages using CSS. Div IDs will play a role there. So for example, you have a block for headers, you have a block for the body, you have the block for the footer, you have the block for the menu. So you will be using Div ID for that. Okay, so block element. On the other hand, the Div class is used for sets of blocks. So the sets of blocks are like smaller pieces of blocks that we use, then combine them to create a bigger block. Okay, so these are used for sets of blocks, so you can use that. So that's the difference. From this point on, I will be using Div class. Okay, so I want you to open a blank notepad and I want you to type the following codes. So you have body. Okay, all right, in this example you will see now that I am using that flip card. This one is the class name, so I'm not using ID at this point. So for Div class, I can actually just use that flip card, or I could use that flip card inner or that flip card back. Okay, that would be enough for me to determine the classification or the division of a specific set of block. Okay, so we type this, and what we're going to do now, okay, in your notepad is you save. Alright, before you save, let me explain a few things. That flip card will specify the background color should be transparent, background color. So background color is transparent. Then we have the width that is set to 300 pixels. So we are going to set the flip card to 300 pixels, both the width and the height. So it's going to be a square card. And then for the perspective, we're going to be giving it a 3D positioning. Okay, so this will come in handy when we are creating an image of a flipping card. Okay, so perspective. So that gives you play around with the values later, so you will see how it will affect. So for the image, we're gonna set the width and height of the image the same as the flip card. Okay, so what we did first was to create the base, which is the flip card. We set it to transparent, we set it to 300px, and then we gave it a 3D perspective, okay, of 1000px. Then for the picture, which is found in your flip card, we set it with the same size as the card itself. Okay, so save this as card2.css, go back to your browser and reload the page. Alright, so nothing much. So go back to card2.css and then I want you to type the following codes. That flip card inner, okay, so you type that in your notepad with 100, height 100%, text align center, transition transform 0.6. I will explain this one by one. So position relative is where you want your position of an object within its normal position. So basically, if you say position relative of the flip card inner, it will position itself in relative, meaning it will not get out. It will be just placed in the same position as what your flip card is. That's relative. It's like, for example, your position when you are sitting would be relative to the distance between an object, a table, for example. Okay, so when you're sitting, your position will not be above the table. Okay, especially if you're sitting on a chair. If it's a different story if you're sitting on a table. Okay, so relativity of the position depends on where its base is. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, so we set the width to 100. The height will be the same of the inner flip card. Is the same with that of the flip card. Then we put the text in the middle. Transform transition 0.6 is how a property changes from value to the next over a period of time. So how will you change the view of a certain object? So that is the function of transition transform. Then transform style preserve 3D specifies how the nested elements are rendered in 3D space. So we are now actually creating nested objects, one on top of the other. Okay. Then there's the back shadow. Save your work, go back to your browser, reload the page, and you will see that your inner card somewhat aligned with the position of your flip card. Okay, so it's still there below. Nothing has much changed at this point in time. Go back to card 2 CSS and type the following codes. So what will happen now if we hover? Okay, so if we hover over the flip card, then the flip card inner will rotate 180 degrees. Okay, so type that, save your work, and reload your page. And this is what happens when you hover. Actually, it's gonna rotate. Okay, so once it rotated and we gave it a transform rotate of 180 degrees, rotate Y is basically twisting on its Y axis. So let's go back to card 2.css and type the following codes. Flip card front, and then flip card back. So we're gonna position that absolute with 100, height 100, and then Webkit backface visibility hidden and backface visibility hidden. Okay, the Webkit backface visibility enables us authors to change the appearance of our HTML elements. So when we talk about Webkit backface visibility, we are actually trying to come up with our design elements to resemble that of the screen. Okay, our user interface control. And then the backface visibility property, okay, defines whether or not the backface of an element should be visible when facing the user. Okay, that's the visibility. Webkit is basically telling your design to mimic that of your monitor or your environment. Save your work, go back to your browser, reload the page. So what happened now is that when we positioned it absolute, we moved it at the top in the same direction as your card, okay? And then we set the width of the text to 100%, same with the height. And then we hid the back portion of that flip card. Okay, so this is what you will see when you hover. Okay, when you hover your mouse over the text. So what happened now is the visibility was hidden. Remember the flip card back? Okay, we hid that back card, and then also the backface visibility was also hidden. So the whole card, when we flipped it, was hidden. Okay, so it works. But the problem is the name of this John Doe here is together with the front or with the other side. What we're going to do is we're going to put it here. So when we flip, it's going to be the picture and the flip side would be the name. Okay. So to do that, let's go back to our CSS and then let's put this flip card back, background color, set the background color, and then set the font color to white, and then transform rotate 180 degrees. Save your work, go back to your browser, and reload the page. So there you have it. That's your flip card. Did you try it? So when I move my mouse and hover this, okay, the flip card back will be changed to blue color, the text color will be white, and then it will rotate to expose this design. That is what the flip card is all about.